Sylvia, do I have your permission to record you?
Yes, you're all good.
And Johnny is,
Yes, ándale.
all right. So go ahead, tell us about
Okay,
the Chicana Coreana.
New Mexico. What part of New Mexico?
So my grandparents were from Belen, New Mexico.
Belen, I know where Belen is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was born in Barstow, and that's where my grandparents and my parents ended up. Apparently, a lot of people in Barstow are from that area.
Belen. Wow.
In New Mexico. Yeah, it's like this weird migration that happened back in the day that I don't really understand fully, but it's interesting.
It
Yeah.
is weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like a lot of the people in Barstow, my hometown, they're like third cousins somehow, or you know.
That's New Mexican thing. Oh, that's my cousin. We're from
Yeah.
Turkey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then my mom is Korean. So my dad met my mom in the military. My mom's godmother matched them together, and he brought her to Barstow. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well played. In what part of Korea? From Seoul?
She's from a town outside of Seoul called Incheon. Yeah, so she grew up really humbly, and she
So
was a little bit of a rebel.
her ideas of going, I'm gonna go to America. I married an American GI. We're gonna
Yeah.
go, and she goes to Barstow. Oh my God.
Yeah. She got a tattoo. She got a tattoo,
Yeah.
which is like weird for being, growing up in Korea. And yeah, she just was a bit of a rebel. And I think
Really?
she wanted a little bit of adventure when she was younger.
Oh,
So
I guess
do you
Yeah.
speak Korean?
No, so I went and studied abroad there after high school, during college, because I didn't know Korean, and I didn't have a lot of Korean people that I grew up with. So I tried really earnestly to learn it. But my brain is not very much a language brain. It's an editing, directing brain for sure, and writing brain. And even Spanish, like I grew up hearing it, and I studied it in high school and college, and my kids are learning it, and I like it's there, but it doesn't come out very well. And it's not like all the way there.
How many kids do you have and how old are they?
I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. They're boys, two boys.
two
Yeah.
boys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got my hands full. But they're like easy now, and they've been growing with my career, let's say that.
Okay. Are you married and stuff like that? Latino or?
Yeah, well, so I married my high school sweetheart. We met in Barstow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a white guy that came from a broken home. We both came from really humble beginnings. If anything, I had it a little bit better when we were kids. Yeah, so we dated for about 10 years and then got married. And then we've been together another 10 years. So I just aged myself for this video. Thank you.
For posterity.
Yeah.
You look like 20 years old, bro. I mean, seriously.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Well, you have some exceptional experience, and I was very impressed, Sylvia, with
Thank you.
what I saw overall. I have I don't know how much Johnny, how much did you tell Sylvia about anything?
I don't remember.
I've been filled in about the idea and about the scale of the project and the overall concept and the timeline and a bit about your history. So yeah, I've been filled in a little bit, but I'd love to hear more.
Okay.
We don't, I don't think we talked about the actual story theme though, right? Just about
No scenes.
yeah. Or like the idea, just East LA type of stuff. Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think she knows about the.
So Sylvia, you don't live in Barstow today, right?
No, I'm in Altadena, like LA, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a few questions along the way, and it's gonna be very informal here. I just want to get a sense of your approach and your thoughts and different things that I'll share with you in a minute. By the way, this is a story that initially when we were coming up with the story, it was not going to be as violent, but we decided to really go all out with the lucha libre fights. And there's a part or two where there's a lot of knives that come out in the fight and the rest of the scene. I'm just kidding.
I know.
Oh, I'm like, okay.
I'm like, really? Shoot. Okay.
Not at all, not at all. Johnny told me, Johnny told me, I think she's very concerned about the fight scenes and how, I don't know, dude, it's
Safety.
Yeah, I'm
The
just like,
safety.
I want my actors to be safe, that's all.
no, 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 don't worry about it. We want everybody to be safe and
Yeah,
no lawsuits going on. Don't worry about it.
exactly.
We're very mindful of that.
Amazing.
By the way, I love your room. Is that your,
This is not my
Okay.
house. This is the Airbnb in
oh,
Palm
it is,
Springs.
but it is a
Yeah,
real background. Okay.
it's a good, yeah, isn't it nice? Yeah, I'm
I
like,
love
this is
it.
a good Zoom call area.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So, first of all, thank you for taking this time to meet with us at this time. The reason I wanted to do this is because I want to make a decision today, given that we've had some really substantial calls with several potential directors for this project. This is actually part of a much larger project that that Johnny and I are collaborating on. And I say Johnny, I mean Chicano Hollywood in general. We are going to be producing several projects like this throughout 2025. And this is the first and really, really shiny first one that we need to nail. We need to nail the perfect landing on for this Olympiad.
Mhm, mhm.
And so a little bit of background about me and then I'll tell you more about the story, and then I want to ask you some questions about this. So let me ask you the simplest question first, actually. What you're doing you're actually exhibiting a film at this festival that you're at right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's the film of? Is it Preggers?
No, Preggers was several years ago. I'm screening The Middle, my proof of concept short film.
Oh, okay. I did see that.
It's
Okay.
with the kid that dies and then she doesn't know what to do.
Congrats.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was a good story. And
thank you.
you directed that story.
I wrote that and directed it. It's was first a feature film script that I've been tinkering since 2019, and then I adapted it into a short film and executed it. November we shot it of last year, and now it's doing festivals.
How many
So
days did you shoot that film?
3 nights.
3 nights? That's it? You
3
did it on
nights.
night? Why nights?
Because it's set in a bonfire, exterior night, and then the location that I had, which was one of the original Del Tacos, which is what Barstow
Oh
is
yeah,
quite
yeah, I saw
proud
it.
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
when you
so
shoot it at night because it was when it
they
was
only,
cold.
yes, the owner was like, you can shoot there for free, but you got to do it at night.
I
So
did see that. I did recognize the Del Taco thing. So
isn't it great? Yeah, I love it.
so they let you do it overnight. So you did it overnight, not it's like
Yeah,
you
three
day for
overnights that
night.
we were
Yeah,
shooting.
you
Yeah.
traded day for night. I got it. Okay, so it was 3 day shoot, but at night.
Yes, exactly.
I got
Yeah.
it. Okay. Well, listen, thank you for that. How many, before I get into other stuff with me, one more question. How many shorts have you written and directed so far?
So shorts, I counted the other day or not too long ago. I think I've directed 8 or 9 shorts slash web series slash scenes, like web series pilots, and then written 4 short films that I've written and directed. I'm maybe miscounting 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay.
Yeah. Because there was about 5 years where I was doing some director for hire work on projects that were brought to me.
And what's your educational background or preparation to be a director? Where did that come from?
Sure. Yeah, I actually went to college for communication, and so I majored in PR and communications. I minored in Asian studies. I didn't go to film school, full disclosure, and then I ended up learning how to direct through my own work, starting in 2017, 18, around there. And so everything that I've done in terms of like learning my craft has been either on the job or through panels, through workshops. I've done an Alliance of Women Directors directing actors workshop, and I sign up for directing actors workshop all the time. And then, yeah, different like panels and blocking with different TV directors. So all of the knowledge that I've gained has been really self-driven through either mentors or conferences and panels and things like that, or doing.
Would you say
Nice.
that Preggers or the middle represents the project you're most, or other, of course, represents the
Yeah.
project you're most proud of?
So right now I have the middle, and I actually have another short film. It's the Latino Film Institute Fellowship short film called The Vote. So those two are both films that I've written and directed in the last year that I'm most proud of. I feel like the newest one I make is always the one I'm most proud of course, because I feel like each time there's growth. But
I
yeah,
don't think I saw did you send us the link to the vote?
I haven't sent you the vote. The vote is drama, and it's a family drama. So I wasn't sure
I like it.
but
No, I want
I
to
would
see
love to send it to you.
I
Yeah.
want to see it. And if we were to select you, you definitely will not be able to. I'm leaving tomorrow at I'm in the red eye,
Mm.
Miami. There's no way that we can meet tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it's good.
But
It'll be really rough. Yeah, I'm already kind of have a slam day. So there wouldn't be a
okay,
way for me to get to LA.
let me ask you another question again. What's your, if you were, awarded this opportunity with us, etc.
Mhm.
And let's suppose that you're interested, right?
Yeah.
What does your schedule look like? Because we would be shooting this film in the beginning of December, and it'll be a 3-day shoot with a 4th day for pickup.
Yeah, I don't have anything planned in terms of directing or work in the next through the year. So I'd be available to start prepping or writing as soon as possible. One thing that I want to be clear is that I'm always really interested in a directing opportunity. Directing is my passion, clearly, and especially a story like this that has action is something that would benefit me in my career moving into television and film.
I got you.
Yeah, and so I just want to be clear that it's something that is an opportunity in my head that I would be interested in. And then but yeah, I'm just producing a short that's shooting at the top of November. But I'm one of the producers and I'm just helping out. It's through the Find Your People program with Issa Rae's company. And that's it, really. I'm just trying to find funding for my feature and
Okay,
so I can
okay.
prep. Mhm.
All right. Well, let me give you a bit of a debrief. I have more questions to
Yeah.
follow up with. So let me see. I'm gonna. By the way, Johnny, catch me on any redundancies that are not necessary because it is late at night. I have been
I
up
know.
all day and meeting with people and traveling all over LA, mostly for this project, the past couple days especially. So,
Mhm.
this story, we anticipate it's going to be a 30 to 35 minute, uh, what would you call it? A short? It is a short technically, but it's not technically a short in terms of the way that this story is produced is going to be like a short, almost for social. But
Mhm.
it's a film. We're treating it as if it's a film. We want the story to be well directed, you know, fairly well acted, and certainly something that we're going to feel very proud of because it'll be the first of its kind
Mhm.
in an industry. So there's a bit of prestige to this particular project for not just for us, but from the perspective of what we're showcasing. The story, do you know the name of it? Do you know about it? This,
Uh, it's about cholitas,
yeah,
right?
so it's a Cholita
Yeah.
story. So it's a story, it's called Cholita Takes LA.
Mhm.
It's a fish out of the water story, a little bit of Crocodile Dundee in it, but
Mhm.
not without the ego that he comes to New York with, if you remember that story. But basically, it's a girl that's happily in Bolivia. She's a Cholita. She's a rising star in wrestling, but that's not really her biggest passion. Her biggest passion is fashion. She's really good at fashion, and almost wins over everybody over there. She's doing good. She's young, but she's doing great. And she gets a call that her grandmother in LA desperately needs help. Everybody has disappeared on her, and that there's no one to help her. And her grandmother happens to be Mexican. So mom is Bolivian, and she left to Bolivia as part of the breakup and the abandonment of the relationship. So she grew up Bolivian, but she was born in LA, but she is as cholita as anybody. She looks very much like her mom. So she's offered as a humanitarian, move to like temporarily go help her grandmother figure some things out. And you know what? Explore the US, etc. So she gets into freaking maybe the Boyle Heights neighborhood, and she immediately meets like utmost fierce resistance from cholas among them. And then there's this whole play about the cholitas and cholas, which
Yeah.
is going to be a comical thing. You can already see it, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is that she doesn't know that she's more chola than she probably thinks she is,
We all have it in us.
right? And she'll end up discovering, as a matter of fact, that gift that she might have for some of the wrestling comes from her own disappeared father, who was a luchador, and a grandfather that was a luchador as well. So she starts having a cultural awakening, even as she's struggling with these people that are resisting this very Bolivian minded girl. Does probably look more Bolivian than she does Mexicana. And so she, little by little, through all the challenges and obstacles that she overcomes, she wins over everybody. And so she takes LA. And then so she'll end up having best friends that are cholas, and a love interest that's cholo. That guy becomes a major ambassador for the cholas to like freaking lay off of her and get to know her because she's really cool. And eventually, fashion is a piece of this. It's funny. This is not really going to end up being a short. This will end up being a feature film in my prediction. I think it will be a really nice independent feature, but we're putting it as part of this. So I think this has a tremendous legs beyond this. Um, my concern is my concern and my not concern, okay, is trying to keep this story as authentic as possible to the Cholita culture, capturing that. The thing that saves us is that we could cast somebody that might look Cholita, but is Mexican American, because
Yeah.
she is both.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like you, if I did not know you and you spoke Korean to me, I would actually think you're Korean, just to be straight up. And I hope
Yeah.
you're not racist, because I'm not trying, just keeping it real. Listen, I'm a straight talker. I'm a Gen Xer. We're in different.
I have experience with that, so don't worry. Yeah,
So
no, and I agree. Like,
you can
I
go either
agree.
way, as a matter of fact. You yourself could go either way.
Yeah, I was in Monterrey a couple weeks ago, and I was like, there's a lot of people who look like me.
Oh yeah, Mexicali. There's
Yeah.
a lot of migration from China. So there's
Yeah.
Asian
Exactly.
influence is very strong. Yeah.
But I
So
think you're right. Yeah, if the character is half Mexicana, then you have a lot more leg room there.
Mm.
And it would still work. Yeah.
right. And then, of course, by producing it with Chicano Hollywood and having great Chola representation of other actors that are, in the background and stuff, I think it's not gonna feel. By the way, you guys are a little bit more hypersensitive to that in California than we are in Florida. But it doesn't matter. We're doing this to be, it's not for any political correctness thing. I really feel it's the right thing to do, and it's a good thing to do. And there's no reason not to do it, because when you have a lot of actors and actresses that can play these roles, why not do it when
Mhm.
it's right there, it's accessible. Just like a story that I actually directed and wrote a couple of weeks ago with Johnny helped me cast one of the actors. I could have cast any Latina for that role, and I chose to cast an Afro-Latina that came from California all the way to Miami, just
Oh,
because
wow.
I really wanted that. I really wanted somebody from LA to be part of my story. And
Mhm.
my choice was a Chicana and an Afro-Latina. And I said, you know what? They're both equal. I had my daughter break the tie, and she did it
But they're
based
good.
on the purest of metrics. I mean,
Yeah.
merits. The one that won actually had a little bit more acting experience and really solid credentials. So these are decisions about casting and stuff like that are important. But even as a writer and
Mhm.
director, more the writer than the director, right? Um, this story, I would be a part of it. And even though I'm not a chola, I am a writer and I do have a background in history. I've majored in history. I've studied Latin American history extensively, and I understand where the story came from, which I created the story.
Mhm.
Um, and I want the story to be uh, told as authentically as possible when we write it. You know, we have to think about how we would vet it, et cetera. And the other thing is that you'd have to pretty tight timeline to write the story. So I need to know
Mhm.
like your confidence level to
Yeah.
something like this. Knowing that, by the way, the cool thing is we kind of know the story beats here. We know where she's at, where she's going, some of the challenges, some of the ways that she can overcome it. And there's still room for you to say, here's a little nugget that I would add, or whatever, or this or that. You know, so this is not set in stone either. As long as the
Mhm.
story, the character arc kind of goes, you know, pretty well for several of the characters and we meet there. By the way, it's a family film, so it's a
Yeah.
family story. Um, there's no, I don't think I even want one curse word in the story. I don't need it. Uh,
Copy. Yeah.
and no one's gonna die in this one.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, there might be a switchblade that's pulled out, but no one's gonna die.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
And there's not gonna be any blood in the wrestling mat. Um, and we got to keep it under budget. It's a micro budget.
Micro budget.
Being treated as a micro budget short, like uh, that's where I lean on this El Jefe here,
Mhm.
who knows how to do the best. But I will tell you that this story will actually be pre-promoted quite aggressively
Mhm.
uh, in really major forums. So it's going to get tremendous publicity for whoever we execute this with.
Right.
We'll have I think not just because of the story, but because of the PR machine that's going to be behind this particular production will be huge.
Ah, that's fantastic. First off, congratulations on directing the project that you just did. That's really awesome.
Yeah, the other one.
Uh, yeah,
I haven't
and
seen
then
it, so you don't know if it sucks, but
but
I
you
think it
did
does.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's I know what it's like, and so that's a congratulations are
And
in order.
congratulations to you for having done so many of them,
Oh,
because
thank
man,
you.
it kicked my ass. I would
Yeah, that's
kick
good.
my butt
Yeah,
in
it's
this story.
supposed to. But in terms of like authenticity and identity and rediscovering one's culture, that's something that's really near and dear to my heart. Someone who's been mixed and kind of dug into history on both sides of my family and really trying to find out who I am as a person, which sounds like this is a story that is similar, right? And then in terms of like a writing schedule and confidence in writing, I am highly confident in writing short form content. Features are a different beast. And so my question would be for you. I know you were saying this is like a 3 to 4 day shoot, and then you mentioned page count, but it does seem high to me. So I wanted to make sure that we're on the same page in terms of like page
Yeah.
count.
Page count's
Uh,
gonna be a big tough one.
yeah.
But what we got to do is really make it contained. We're milking one location, getting 4, 5, 6 pages, 8 pages out of one location, 10 pages out of another location, and just that way we're not doing a bunch of company moves. So that's going to be the strategy of writing it so that and then we know what locations we have to work with. So for
Yeah.
sure we'll need a house, we'll need grandma's house. Well, hopefully Grandma's house has an alley in the back that we can just do some scenes there.
Mhm.
A luchador, wrestling mean I have a couple that I have access to, so we can make that a nice get as many pages as we can out of that.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah, I
is
think,
aggressive,
yeah, and I think it would be delicate balance because in terms of wanting to have like something really high production with really wonderful directing, that showcases the show and the potential that it has, I think, yeah, that having the time to, make it look
Yeah, no, time's
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
what we're
those are the
gonna do,
only things I have. But in terms of writing, like I wrote a short the other day. It was like 12, 13 pages and just a couple hours, in terms of like executing a first draft, and then tinkering from there, like in terms of timeline, I don't think
yeah,
that's an
I would think
issue.
I would just want a first draft by the end of the month. That way, and that the rest, then you have the rest of November to tinker, polish, whatever. But at least if I have the first draft, that way I can start prepping locations and all that kind of stuff. So but
Yeah,
basically,
and
roughly
we would,
like 2 months to
John,
write.
Johnny, and myself especially would be super on top of thinking of the efficiencies so that we can execute this in the timeline that we need to produce this. One of the challenges about what we're doing is actually an interesting timeline situation. Not timeline, but an interesting production approach to this that I did not do with the film that I just did, Clavito.
Mhm.
I The Clavito took us 3 days to shoot. In our case, we had multiple camera angles for everything. It was a very different animal in that sense because it's a short film. There's a part of what we're shooting that is like a short film, and a part of it that is actually not like that. It's supposed to be almost one take shots,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
very fast paced. I would almost put it, my son actually was a PA with Tyler Perry on Boo 2. It's so there is a Tyler Perry-ish type feel to how we want to produce this.
I see.
It's not going to be like, I think the films that you've shot where there's this highly stylized everything. We're gonna go faster on purpose.
Yes, I understand. Okay. And it's intended for like very, very short is it
Yes.
vertical? It's vertical, right?
Yeah,
Well,
we're gonna shoot it horizontal, but also I would want to try to frame it vertical as well.
yeah.
But
Okay.
it's gonna live initially on YouTube, but it's
I see.
primarily it's but this year is a primarily not proof of concept, but it's series out so that Manny, who's Mr. Connected to every brand out there, will get the
Mhm.
brands behind the future ones are doing for 2025. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Manny, jump in if I said anything that was
Yeah,
not true or
so
exaggerated.
I didn't tell you, I don't, actually, I didn't tell I didn't tell Sylvia anything about our company. I'm sorry about that, Sylvia. You're like, tell me a little bit who the hell you are. So,
I'll do a little pre-intro or reverse intro. So Manny, I call him the godfather of Hispanic digital media,
play
right?
the music, play the music of the Godfather now.
Yeah. So he started a company called Hispanicize way before anybody else got into that space. He was the first Latino company to go in there, and they would do big events, kind of like we just did Elevate. That conference is
Yeah.
2 times bigger, right? And a lot of different things spawned out of that, like Me Too. You know the company Me Too.
Yes, yes.
He was also one of the owners of Me Too and so on, and
So
GL,
we
which
sold we sold our company to
he's
NGL Me Too, which is my company. NGL Hispanicized. We sold to Me Too, to the company
Mhm.
that owns Me Too,
and
which is
NGL
not
was
a company by the way. Me Too is
Donna Gonzalez and all that. That was all his
John
company.
Leguizamo was my business partner
Yeah.
most,
I
3 years ago.
Yeah, so
I see.
so Manny's very big in the branded space, and so this it's a newer format that's coming out of China, and it's I don't know if you've seen those before, but it's a newer format that's kind of like how Quibi was. Quibi tried to be high production value, 10-minute,
Yeah.
episodes, right? Well, this new format, I'm sure because TikTok conditioned everybody, it's semi-high production value, drama, dramedy, and also these are 90-second episodes. And
Hmm.
A lot of
every
them are 90-second-ish type.
yeah, and it can be up to 2 minutes maybe, but you're looking at a hook at the end of every single episode, so that the
Yeah.
the next one blows, and so
Yeah.
it's big and it's here now, and we want to just be on the cutting edge of it and get this out so
Yeah,
that
so our investor is an ad tech company that's been around for 12 years. Actually, Johnny, let me peel back, go back just a second. So what we're doing today, we have so think of Procter and Gamble, right?
Yeah.
Nobody buys Procter and Gamble. They buy Tide and all these.
You're right. Got it. Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
our lead company is called Bria Media Ventures. That's the mothership of our company, and we have a deep investor in technology and ad technology, very powerful, very good. They've invested in what we're talking about right now. And
I
so
see.
so Bria Media Ventures owns a company, is a mothership of a platform called Nuestro Stories,
Mhm.
which is its platform. That platform is devoted every day on the web and on social to Latino stories about origin, history, and heritage.
I
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Every day we peel back the story of our food, fashion, icons, landmarks. It is almost the American Latino Museum live through social media. And every day you find out something about your culture through the platform of Nuestro Stories.
Mm-hmm.
Separate from that, we also have this ad technology platform, which is really the core of a lot of our business. It
Right.
does things at scale that help us be a successful, profitable company. And we have a massive backer, or we have an important backer in that. And then this new venture, which I have is part of Nuestro Studios. Within Nuestro Studios, we produce films. We produce now this new venture that we're launching with other partners as well, by the way. And we have uh, podcast series as well. Podcast series is
Mhm.
less important overall to everything else we do compared to the films and this new type of concept that we're launching to the entire multicultural marketing space. So with this particular type of storytelling, it's about speed. Uh,
Yeah.
but the funny thing is that we have riffed on this been working on this concept for a year. It's been our,
Mm.
and it's a focal point of our company from this point forward for at least the next several years. We will focus on Nuestro Studios, and this particular project is a core investment of ourselves. And so this particular story that we're talking about is the first of multiple stories that are launching and will be on an ongoing basis produced. So for example, even if we, for whatever, John and I are going to debrief after this, Sylvia, tonight,
Uh-huh.
but even should we not work with you on this particular project, I can easily tell you that I'm going to work with you on like the next one.
Oh, that's
Or one
nice
of
to
the
say.
next one.
Yeah.
Because I love your demeanor. I love your can do, will do, must do type of approach. I think it's a superpower that you're a mom, by the way.
I think it is too.
And
Yeah.
sensitivity.
mom
I
with two
met
boys.
I manage a whole household though, and lots of different personalities. So
Yeah. And it gives you a sensibility that is a thing to seriously consider in this story because there's family, there's roots. I love that you said that without necessarily knowing everything. You went to Korea and tried to get that culture.
Mhm.
So uh,
I love what she
it
said, and I
made my
imagine,
job really hard with
yeah,
Johnny here.
yeah. I love what you said, and I immediately had a picture of it when you said I studied the Korean culture so I could go be prepared, so I can see La Cholita coming across, looking at some kind of book or the Constitution or whatever, something that's,
Yeah.
or maybe something wacky like a Chicano Hollywood magazine or something like that, but just something worth it, trying to prepare for her arrival. But I love how you said that, like, oh man, that'd be a great little quick.
Yeah. I mean, identity was always yeah, like a thing that, and now, find, which would be the end of her arc, right? And just fully embracing both sides of yourself as like, I am Chicana. I have no problem saying that.
Yeah.
And I am
Actually,
Korean. Yeah. So it's
you
like one
know,
of those things that
we
I
could
think
call
I
the movie
relate to a lot.
Cholita Chola, Chola Cholita.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm
So,
a Chola.
Now, Sylvia, you are familiar with the cholitas out of Bolivia, right?
yeah, so I did some research today and was looking at what the Cholitas came out of and what inspired it, and I probably would like to do, of course, more
Yeah.
after we talk about it more. But yeah, I briefly was listening to some content on my drive over here to Palm Springs.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's super fascinating. I do know that there's like an indigenous aspect of it,
Mm,
right?
yeah.
So I'm curious how that wraps into the casting, into also the story. And I also, yeah, I mean, I'm curious to, because it sounds like the story has been developed pretty thoroughly if there is an outline to start from.
No,
Uh,
there isn't any deep outline.
In his
In one of
head.
my, in one of my earlier calls today, because we've had extensive calls, I was less tired and
that's
I
good.
I riffed the perfect story arc. Like I was like, oh crap, I should record this, and I was recording it.
Oh, good. There you go. There you just
And I was like,
like have
yeah,
AI
it's
write the outline for
absolutely
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a very, in my mind, it's a very easy story to
Okay.
outline because for example, I'll tell you, so she gets this sudden call from whatever. She's initially resistant, but she's also curious because LA is the promised land. It's the US, the America. Now she had a reason to be here, but she meets all sorts of obstacles immediately, just starting off with where she's walking into, which is Boyle Heights, right?
Mhm.
And she realizes like she was ascending over there. We see that she's established, she's happy, she's successful, she's going places in her beloved Bolivia. And over here, she's not walking into paradise. She's walking into the real difficulties of
Yeah.
what the grandmother's going through and surrounded by people that don't appear to be don't look exactly like her or talk like her and initially resist her. So she her first friend, her first ally is a Puerto Rican gal who understands that, who understands the nature of being the outside insider. She's an outside
Yeah.
insider. And then immediately she discovers this guy who's a low rider, almost scares her to death, ends up being the guy that takes an interest in her. And it's a cholo.
Mhm.
And that guy becomes the other ambassador for her. And she's trying to look for how she can reconstruct her life now in the US as a luchadora, which
Mhm.
she's happy to discover, and also in fashion,
Mhm.
'cause- and then that process of discovery of her roots happens through both her wrestling and through the fashion part, which is something that her grandmother, she finds out that her grandmother's an expert at
Oh,
doing
cool.
these things. So she realizes like she actually discovered more about who she was by coming to the US,
Yeah,
but
for
not
sure.
without a lot of other people making snap judgments about her. But eventually, Cholita takes LA. So she's gonna win
Yeah.
everybody's hearts. And she's gonna do this in record time because we only have 35 minutes.
Yeah, I have a question for you. In terms of like tone, because it's a comedy, right? So
I
I'm
would
I'm
say a
I'm
lighthearted
assuming,
drama. I think I would call it a lighthearted drama with some moments of comedy,
do you
especially.
have a comps? Like, do you have any like
You
references?
mentioned Nacho earlier, right?
Um, no,
Is that a,
I mentioned Crocodile Dundee to some
no,
degree,
but
but
Nacho Libre? Is there any? Did you mention Nacho Libre earlier?
I
um,
don't.
I haven't seen Nacho Libre in
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Maybe it was another conversation I had that I
Yeah,
didn't
no, but I
mention.
feel like I did have a comp in mind. We can come up with a comps.
yeah, yeah.
This
So
is not there's definitely, by the way, there's definitely formula here, not a doubt. But what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, there's so many fish out of water stories. I have to think about which one. might be an interesting one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fish out of water stories are really, always fun when the fish thinks that they're out of water, but they're actually realize that they were a fish too. They just didn't know
Yeah.
they were. Yeah, at first
Interesting.
they think they're the fish out of water, but here she's going to discover she is the fish. She's the fish that's been in the water the whole time. She just didn't know it. So
Right.
that's the part that the story arc for her resolves. And the other story arc is that at first everybody resists her for the wrong reasons, but they will eventually succumb to her because she is an engaging, beautiful person, positive,
Yeah.
can do. And everybody gave her hell, but she overcame it. And the funny thing is that every time I talk about the story, I'm more convinced that we should not do it as a 35-minute movie. We should do it as a feature film, but actually because of what it represents,
I'll direct your feature.
right?
I
Wow.
mean, but yeah, we'll
Let's see what you got
cross
in you.
reference.
We do this with you, Sylvia.
But yeah, no, it sounds super fun.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this other question. When I directed Eclavito was the name of the film. We had brutal long days, brutal.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Obviously Johnny has an incredible um crew that knows sometimes it's short, sometimes it's brutal. So how do you feel about if the days were very long, just along the way? Because this is just a potential reality. I think we can
yeah.
pre-produce it to high heaven, but it's going to be tough days.
Yeah, I mean, every production I've been on has been tough in their own ways. Whether that be a lot to get through, no time, and for me, the well-being of everybody is important. But yeah, I mean, I typically run around 12-hour days, and then if we go overtime, that happens, and we just take it with grace. But in the way that I work, it doesn't get too extensive. Um, but yeah, we've dealt with like not a lot of not enough crew and people having to do a lot more work than they normally are, things like that. And it works out just fine as long as we're all communicating.
Johnny, any thoughts on that? This is your
Yeah,
world.
no. I think, I mean, 10 pages is always aggressive per day. Um,
Yeah.
but what I got to see first and what we got to see is the script. And
Yeah,
say,
the
can we
script will
make that?
determine a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's gonna be the big 10 pages on one location and everybody's getting ready. That's very, very indie doable, I've been
Yeah.
on projects where we've done 4 pages a day and that's a 90-day shoot. But
It's funny, my production team in Miami, my I would say I'll call him my Miami Johnny. His name is Cesar. I met with him last week. I'm sorry, I'm blurred here. I live in Miami, so we just went through a hurricane situation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Geez.
But no, but we're fine where we were at least. Anyways, he was telling me, Manny, uh, I was talking to him about this story and another one that he's gonna do he's gonna do the second one that we're doing now, simultaneous to this one. And he said, Manny, we did a novela and a half when I was
Mm,
at when we, I've done novela and a half in one day. In one day. I'm like, no. He goes, yeah, it's all about the pre-production. And if you have your tight pre-production,
yeah.
you can do a lot more than you think. But that not necessarily that it's going to be the same exact situation, but we're going to really try to get to a point where we can do it with a with without sacrificing, the quality, trying to do it
Yeah.
extremely efficient, very focused, move, move, move. And I'll be flying in, by the way. There's probably be two other team members than the usual people that Johnny will have to be additional arms, legs, ears,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, yeah.
so
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm really big with prep, and work really closely with the DP, the producing team, the AD, and production designer. And so, yeah, prep is always like number one. And then I'm also not I have experience working with clients and, working as a director for hire. So I don't have a problem having someone looking over my shoulder too.
Yeah.
So
And,
I'm an editor also. I
oh,
edit.
that's great to know.
Yeah,
That's
so when I direct like an edit. I mean,
love it.
my strength, I feel like my strength with actors has been really building very strongly. I think you can see that in my shorts, especially when I send you the vote. And then, but yeah, no, I don't shoot more than I have to, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
that's amazing.
By the way, I love that you said that, but let me actually ask you this. So you just tipped your hat a little bit there. You said, especially when I show you the votes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vote, yeah, the vote, um,
Why didn't you
so I
put
shot,
in this show that you just did? That you're
I think because it's,
It was more drama, right?
it's fully drama. There's no action involved. And then it's also seemingly more simple than the middle, but it's really not because it's a lot of characters in one living room for a
Mm,
lot of the short. But it was a lot of blocking and a lot of different placements for the camera to make sure that we're focused on the right characters. But my actors, first of all, I had to handle a lot of actors, children, and elderly, and then make sure that I had the right build up for the ending that I wanted to have. But yeah, I've been really cutting my teeth on directing actors and working with different tools that we might have together and just making sure we have the right like moments that I had in my head for the script. But yeah, no, I definitely feel like my strength in my craft started off as an editor director, and now I feel like acting is there too, and I feel very confident with that.
do you do any acting yourself?
No, I did some acting in high school and I did an acting class in college, and then that's when I'm like, uh, I don't do it.
What does your husband do?
He is a virtual production supervisor and previs. So he works at a place called Magnopus. I think I saw on your LinkedIn because I did some research that you worked in VR and AR space.
Yes.
So he works for a company that is heavy in that space and also does virtual production. So have you heard of Magnopus?
No. But
So
it doesn't mean anything because
yeah, they're like a vendor that works with bigger people. But they're
awesome.
working on the Fallout show, the Amazon show, and then
That's awesome. So
they
you both are
helped
in the
John
same field.
Favreau.
You
We're
both
both in the same field, and he keeps me up to date with like technology and how the volume works, and how prep and previs is so helpful, and doing LiDAR scans so we can prep everything. And
is
yeah,
he
so like
he's white, right? You told me he's
yeah,
white.
he's a white guy. Yeah,
White dude.
yeah, yeah.
Sold
Met him
out.
when I was a kid. Yeah, I met him when I was a kid. So, he's
that's
my
cool.
best friend, really.
That's
And
cool.
Barstow, that's awesome.
Is Barstow.
Barstow. I
But then,
forget there was something about Barstow. I did something with McDonald's a number of years ago where I had to do a road trip, and there was something about Barstow. I think
there's a,
is that where the first McDonald's was?
no,
That's
it has a
fun.
train station McDonald's. Like the McDonald's is connected to like train
There we
carts where
go.
you can sit and
Oh,
eat.
I
Yeah.
remember there was something about Barstow, and I didn't remember what it was. So thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, mostly people have stories of breaking down and like their cars break down and they're stuck
Yeah,
and
overheating.
scared.
Yeah,
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 and they're
because you're near the
scared and
president.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
it's not a
So,
great town, but
Johnny, do you
yeah.
have any final question for Sylvia? I know that we can't see you, won't be able to meet you if we, Johnny, you're not
Yeah.
debrief before we let see. I mean, after we.
No, no. I mean, I think as if everything goes forward, whether this one or the next one, I think we're good. I think
You
she's
made
amazing.
it terribly hard for me.
I
Uh,
mean, I'm just happy to meet you and talk with Johnny more and just like, yeah, set up things for a relationship, to go forward in terms of like making really awesome creative
Mm.
content. yeah, so either
And
way works
this
for
is
me.
a new space, you know, I mean, new format, right? Like I was telling you
Yeah.
earlier, these little 90-second type of things. So um, this is a great connection. You know, as you know, Hollywood is really weird right now. I
It's
mean,
weird.
very decentralizing, all this. So
Yeah.
this will, if everything goes well, we'll be busy in 2025, you know, so,
Yeah, very fun.
but this is
Yeah, I
it's a
mean, and
good
it goes without
alternative.
saying that you work with people you like and you trust, and that you have that, you develop that crew mentality, right? Like, this is my crew, this is my team, or set of, you know, and we're always going to need multiple directors for stuff, because you might be shooting another film, or you might be
Mm,
out on vacation,
yeah.
or you might go
Yeah,
to Korea to learn language again.
yeah.
I'm just gonna go there to eat. That's what I would go there
Oh,
for.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Well, that sounds dangerous. Sounds very
I
dangerous.
know. Yeah.
But
But no,
But
I'm good. You know, I like Sylvia.
I think
Like
my
her.
main concern is, could you pull a story out
Of
of
your head.
Lolita, you know, but I think you can. So let me talk to Johnny, because you made it really difficult, interestingly difficult. In
sure,
a
I
good,
mean, I'd like to also know if, you know, in terms of like budget, I know it's a low budget, but in terms of development, writing, is it allocated in those spaces as well? You know, those would be questions I would have next.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and we'll have
that
a
should be that we should we have that
yeah.
conversation now? Since I think you did have that conversation with the others.
No, I have not had
Johnny?
that conversation with anybody else. No. So
Oh
there will
no.
be an allocation for writing and allocation for directing and also one for editing, if that's something that you want to pick up too. But again, everything would be all in. So even
okay.
on the editing, I mean, are you strong in coloring and sound design and all that stuff too?
I've tried my hand in color grading to the point where I know I should keep that with the
Yeah, yeah. No,
professionals.
that's it. That's but
Uh,
that's
yeah,
that's
but
good to know. Yeah,
I'm an
yeah.
editor. I'm an editor, and I don't mess with sound and color. I hope
No,
for
it's
somebody who knows more than me to do
yeah. No, it's
it.
a trick, but there would be, you know, for the writing and directing especially. So for someone that's going to tackle both, then but again, micro budget, and again, to set the whole budget, I got to see the script. You know, it is I got to see what's in there and what we take out and all that. But we will, if we everything goes good, make a decision, then we'll hammer all that out. But you know,
Okay, all
yeah,
right, sounds
but
good.
yeah,
Sounds
So
like there's a plan.
yeah, Sylvia, and by the way, in some cases in the future, as we actually do some of these things with brands, because this is not a brand related film, there's
Mhm.
more budget for those type of
mhm,
things.
mhm.
When we
Yes,
self-fund it for the love of the art and keeping everybody busy and doing stuff, it's especially a micro budget. So
yes,
there are, what I'm communicating, to be more explicitly clear, is I always believe in paying everybody more when it's a campaign where we're going to be able to make money. But if
yeah,
we're funding it and it's like we're just keeping this flowing and keeping going, then those are treated a bit different. And
yes,
everybody should benefit from those opportunities when they're like that, which I feel very good about the way we've built this over the past year, and now ready to finally start doing the stories, is such that there is significant interest from a lot. That's part of why I'm here. I've been meeting with
yeah,
brands and agencies right and left, but I know that we're going to take the initial first bites of this apple on our own.
yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
the
Yeah,
brands want to see it. We know we kick this out, comes out pretty. Brands, because of this guy's reputation, relationship, brands are going to run to us, and they already are. There's conversations, but it's always like, well, let's see it. So
Yeah,
we
show me
just
something. It's part of
yeah.
the reason why the ego side of apart, and the fact that we're modeling it for a feature was
mhm,
part of why I did the Clavito, this film that I just told you about, because
yeah,
it's a way of saying, okay, while this other story gets done, this one was already ready to get done. Here, check this out, so you have an idea of the storytelling quality that
mhm,
we're talking about. So that's a major reason why we went ahead and greenlit, did, produced, directed, and now are finalizing the first feature film, the first short film, sorry,
Mhm.
of our repertoire. But now this one that we're talking about, potentially with you, is the official first like micro short of what we're doing. So
I see. Yeah, no, I totally understand. Yeah, I mean, there's a large like range when it comes to working with like brands and working on something that's purely independent. So yeah, I just wanted to understand, you know,
Yeah,
if
and
writing is included and if
no,
it's allocated in a certain.
those are all valid. Those are all valid questions
yeah.
and totally understood. So not a problem.
And you've done Red Bull before, right? You said you work for Red Bull.
Yeah, I worked with Red Bull on a lot of their online content and gaming content, and I've worked with brand like with Magnopus. I edited on some of their stuff with like Disney, and yeah, so
Yeah.
I know the wide range of how different someone can get paid.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where we're at. The same with me. I've done
Yeah,
for Lowe's, Hyundai, and those are way
yeah.
different budgets, you know. And then we do this so that we can get those budgets. So yeah.
Yes,
So
I
this is just
understand.
one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, we're proof of concept thing here. And this is not the only one, but this is the main one. This particular one is the main one that I'm actually in my mind, it's not just for this, it's also for the feature film. So there's
Mhm.
actually two potential bites of this apple that could come
Yes,
from it. So, okay. Well,
copy.
listen,
Got it.
I'm gonna I terrific dilemmas here, Johnny. I love I love where we're ending up here with Sylvia. You were always one of my strongest feels for seeing your reel and everything.
Oh,
So,
awesome.
I do want you to know that if we don't end up working on this one, I definitely could see working as an immediate one after.
Mm. The
Yeah, we'll definitely
milestones.
keep talking. And
Yeah.
thank you for taking the time to get to know me and talk with me this evening. I know it's late, so I
Oh yeah, I'm
appreciate
not gonna forget, and it's recorded.
it.
So the
There you go.
our broader team is gonna know who you are, uh,
Okay.
and know where they can access more about your personality shines, which I love it. You have a can do, will do, done it, been there, done that, type of mentality. So
I've lived a few lives, yeah, I guess.
And you got some chola in you, so that's great too.
It's in there. It's
Mm.
definitely in there somehow. Yeah.
Barstool chola. Oh my gosh.
a
That's
bar
The
spatula,
desert,
that's
that
good.
desert chola.
yeah, desert
Yeah.
chola. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
so great to talk with you guys. You guys have a good evening.
Okay,
Thank
Sylvia. I'll be in
All
touch.
right.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
you.